My beloved child, I see the quiet exhaustion you have been carrying deep within your soul as you tirelessly try to calculate every single outcome of your future. You have spent countless sleepless nights staring into the darkness while your mind races through endless scenarios, trying to construct a perfect blueprint that will keep you safe from harm. I see the heavy, invisible weight resting entirely upon your fragile shoulders, and I understand the profound weariness that comes from believing you are responsible for orchestrating your own survival. Please hear my gentle whisper, inviting you to simply breathe and completely rest. I know you have spent so much time carefully designing the blueprint for your life, drawing out exactly how and when your blessings should arrive. But I'm asking you today to stop looking at your blueprint because I am building outside your box. Your beautiful human mind can only imagine solutions based on what you have already seen, experienced, or logically comprehended in your past. But I am the creator of the universe, the author of the unimaginable, and the architect of impossibilities. This magnificent future I am crafting cannot be confined within the limited margins of earthly expectations. The sheer exhaustion you are feeling is a divine signal, a gentle but firm boundary. Your soul is setting to tell you that human striving has reached its absolute limit. You were never designed to be the sovereign orchestrator of the universe, attempting to control the winds and the waves of your circumstances through sheer willpower. I invite you into my divine rest today, asking you to lay down your tightly clutched strategies. Allow yourself the rare and beautiful grace of simply being held in the loving arms of your Creator. Stop fighting the current and lean back into grace. I see the quiet tears you cry when nobody else is looking, the moments when you feel entirely overwhelmed by the sheer unpredictability of your journey. You wonder if your persistent efforts will ever yield the beautiful harvest you so deeply long for. Please understand that your weariness is not a sign of weak faith or spiritual failure. Rather, it is the honest reality of a beautiful human heart that cares deeply. I am intimately acquainted with every sorrow you carry, every silent sigh that escapes your lips, and every unuttered prayer that lingers in your deeply weary, beautiful soul. You have been carrying a quiet, persistent fear that if you drop the pen and stop managing every single detail, your entire world will instantly crumble into chaotic ruin. I gently promise you that this is a heavy illusion designed to keep you trapped in a perpetual cycle of striving, preventing you from experiencing the breathtaking freedom of authentic trust. I'm holding your universe together with the exact same hands that formed the towering mountains and placed the brilliant stars in the expansive night sky. The incredible relief you desperately seek will come from completely yielding your total control. As you stand here in this beautifully sacred moment, I want you to feel the profound, unconditional acceptance I have for you. This acceptance is absolutely not dependent on your ability to continuously perform, achieve, or perfectly strategize your way through life. I am tenderly addressing that quiet, hidden part of your spirit that feels perpetually misunderstood, the part that secretly believes you have to earn your miracles through flawless execution. You are already entirely loved, thoroughly approved of, and perfectly chosen. The spectacular miracle I am preparing for you is a gift of pure, unmerited, and beautiful grace. You may have noticed lately a sudden, overwhelming urge to just surrender control of a specific situation that has been consuming your thoughts. You feel an inexplicable readiness to simply let go of the heavy steering wheel you've been gripping so tightly. This beautiful inclination is not a sign of giving up or admitting defeat. It is actually the gentle, loving whisper of my spirit guiding you away from a battle you were never meant to fight alone. I am deliberately shifting the posture of your heart from one of frantic grasping to one of peaceful and absolute receiving. As you navigate this season, you might find that your usual backup plans, the comforting safety nets you have always relied upon, are completely closing and disappearing. I understand how terrifying it feels when your familiar options vanish, leaving you feeling exposed, vulnerable, and entirely devoid of the secure fallback positions that usually give you earthly comfort. but I'm asking you to trust the divine wisdom behind these closed doors. I'm intentionally removing the good alternatives so that you are perfectly positioned to receive the absolute best outcome I have securely and deeply reserved exclusively for you. Deep within your spirit, amidst the swirling chaos of your external circumstances, you are currently experiencing a profoundly unexplainable calm, despite not having the logical answers you demand. This beautiful, quiet stillness in your heart defies all human understanding. It is a sacred tranquility that makes absolutely no sense given the towering mountains you are currently facing. This profound peace is my personal signature, the divine watermark upon your soul, assuring you that even though you cannot see the road ahead, your Creator is already walking gracefully in your tomorrow. Cherish this unexplainable calm and guard it very fiercely. You've been feeling uniquely sensitive lately, absorbing the heavy emotions of the world around you and carrying a deep, empathetic longing that frequently brings sudden tears. This heightened emotional awareness is not a psychological imbalance or a sign that you are breaking down. It is a profound spiritual tuning, a divine recalibration of your heart to hear my voice more clearly. I am actively expanding your spiritual capacity, stretching the tent pegs of your soul so that you can receive, carry, and distribute the massive outpouring of love and grace. Your tender sensitivity is an exact spiritual frequency. The spiritual imprints I have lovingly placed upon your life are becoming undeniable, revealing themselves in the quiet, perfectly timed synchronicities and gentle, reassuring signs that suddenly appear. You might see a comforting word, hear a perfectly timed song, or witness a breathtaking sunset that feels as though it was painted exclusively for you, whispering profoundly that you are entirely seen. These are not random, meaningless coincidences. They are my intentional, personal kisses to your spirit, continuous reminders that I am intimately involved in the intricate details of your everyday journey. I am constantly weaving these tiny, miraculous moments. You have recently begun to recognize a deep, unshakable inner knowing that your current situation is rapidly approaching a massive supernatural transition that cannot be orchestrated by human hands. This intuitive anticipation is the beautiful stirring of the Holy Spirit within you, a divine premonition preparing your earthly mind for a heavenly intervention that will permanently alter the entire trajectory of your life. Even when your physical eyes see absolutely nothing but stagnant, unchanging circumstances, your awakened spirit can distinctly hear the distant, powerful rumbling of the magnificent rain of blessing. I am currently and meticulously gathering for you. I am intimately aware that the gentle signs I am sending often profoundly conflict with the harsh, intimidating realities you physically face every single day, creating a confusing tension. You are bravely trying to walk a delicate, incredibly narrow bridge between the beautiful, invisible promises I've whispered to you and the loud, demanding, visible obstacles that currently block your forward progress. This intense spiritual friction is not meant to tear you apart, but to beautifully ignite a passionate, uncompromising faith that completely refuses to bow to the intimidating temporary circumstances. I am teaching you how to confidently see. The subtle, quiet closing of familiar doors in your life is actively creating a beautifully narrow, specific funnel that is guiding you directly toward the single, magnificent path I have ordained. You may feel as though your options are being cruelly restricted, but I am actually saving you from the exhausting, unnecessary burden of having to navigate countless, confusing crossroads that would only lead to devastating delays. By intentionally removing the alternative routes, I am ensuring that you do not accidentally miss the spectacular, beautifully timed appointment with destiny that I have meticulously and deeply arranged for your highest good. As you reflect on these beautiful, undeniable signs, the urge to surrender, the closing of alternate plans, and the unexplainable, profound calm allow them to serve as a solid anchor. They are the undeniable, tangible proof that I am entirely active in your story, continuously working behind the heavy, dark curtains of your current reality to orchestrate a deliverance that will completely astound you. Do not let the enemy convince you that these gentle spiritual nudges are merely the product of your own imagination. They are the authentic, deeply personal communications from a creator who truly loves you beyond human measure. I know the fierce, paralyzing anxiety that strikes your heart when you simply do not know the how or the when of the deliverance you have been faithfully praying for. Your logical mind desperately craves a detailed timeline, a clear step-by-step itinerary of how I plan to rescue you, heal you, and elevate you from the difficult valley you are currently walking through. The agonizing silence of the unknown often feels like a heavy weight pressing down on your chest, making you question whether your prayers have merely bounced off the ceiling. The absence of a timeline means absolutely nothing. You have been quietly punishing yourself, carrying the heavy, agonizing feeling that you are somehow a failure because the logical, well-thought-out plans you constructed suddenly fell apart and crumbled. You look around at the shattered pieces of your expectations and falsely believe that your worth is diminished, that you must have taken a wrong turn, or that you are fundamentally flawed. I need you to completely release this toxic narrative right now. Your shattered plans do not reflect a shattered identity, nor do they indicate that I have abandoned you. Sometimes I must lovingly allow your earthly structures to fall. Deep in your heart, you carry the heavy, lingering fear of being blindsided by another painful disappointment, a completely understandable hesitation born from the deep wounds of your difficult past. You have been hurt so deeply before, experiencing moments when you dared to raise your hopes only to have them mercilessly dashed, leaving you with a fragile, bruised heart that is terrified to ever fully trust again. Because of this lingering trauma, you cautiously keep your expectations intentionally low, building high protective walls around your soul and secretly preparing for the absolute worst-case scenario to protect your very own heart. I see the intense, silent frustration that boils within you when well-meaning people constantly ask for your detailed 5-year plan, making you feel entirely inadequate for simply taking your life one day at a time. The world loudly applauds those who appear to have everything perfectly mapped out, creating an immense, suffocating pressure to project an illusion of total control and unwavering certainty regarding your future trajectory. When you cannot provide a neat, impressive summary of your coming years, you feel a sharp sting of embarrassment, feeling as though you are somehow severely lagging behind your own ambitious, perfect peers. In your quietest, most vulnerable moments, you have been secretly doubting if I actually care about the seemingly minor, insignificant details of your daily life, wondering if your personal desires are simply too small. You sometimes believe the heartbreaking lie that I am only concerned with the grand, sweeping events of global history, and that bringing your personal fears, specific hopes, and daily inconveniences to me is a bothersome intrusion. My precious child, there is absolutely nothing concerning you that is too small, too trivial, or too mundane to capture my complete, undivided, and intensely loving, pure, and eternal attention. I want to speak directly to the deep, silent shame you have been carrying regarding your ongoing struggles, the false belief that a strong person of faith should not experience such profound moments of doubt. You hide your tears and mask your fears because you think your vulnerability is a spiritual failure. But I see your honest, beautifully human wrestling, and I love you exactly as you are. Your profound honesty in the dark is far more beautiful to me than any rehearsed, superficial performance of perfection you could ever attempt to constantly display to the watching, very judgmental world. The overwhelming pressure to constantly produce, to constantly achieve, and to visually prove your worth to a society that measures human value strictly by output and accumulation has left your spirit incredibly depleted. You feel as though your inherent worth is entirely dependent on your ability to perpetually perform, succeed, and impress those watching your journey, leading to a chronic, deeply exhausting cycle of endless striving. I want to completely dismantle this exhausting belief system right now, reminding you that your value was eternally established the very moment I beautifully breathed my divine life directly into your perfectly formed lungs. Every single tear you have cried in the dark, every moment of profound isolation where you felt entirely unseen and forgotten by the universe has been tenderly gathered and preserved in my loving hands. You have walked through valleys of deep shadow, carrying silent griefs and heavy burdens that you dared not share with anyone else, believing that you were utterly alone in your agonizing struggle. But I have been closer to you than your very breath during every single one of those long, painful nights, grieving with you, comforting your broken spirit, and quietly catching every tear before falling. I know you sometimes look back at the chapters of your life with a heavy heart full of regret, fixating on the mistakes you made, the wrong turns you took, and the opportunities you feel you squandered. You mentally punish yourself for not being wiser, for not acting sooner, or for the moments when your faith wavered and you allowed fear to dictate your choices instead of divine courage. Please hear my gentle, forgiving voice speaking directly to your beautiful heart. I have already redeemed every single mistake, woven every misstep into a grand tapestry of pure, unending grace completely. You've endured seasons of intense spiritual drought, times when the heavens felt like brass, my voice seemed entirely silent, and your passionate prayers felt like empty echoes bouncing off cold, unforgiving walls. In those agonizing moments of perceived absence, you courageously continued to seek my face, holding on to a tiny, flickering ember of faith, even when the surrounding darkness threatened to consume your hope completely. I want to deeply honor that spectacular endurance today. Your choice to remain faithful in the profound silence is a testament to the incredible strength and beautiful maturity of your trusting, fully surrendered spirit. Let me speak softly into the anxiety that tightly grips your chest when you look at the towering obstacles standing between you and the beautiful dreams I have planted deep within your wonderful heart. To your human eyes, these massive barriers appear entirely immovable, logical impossibilities that mock your faith and loudly declare that you have finally reached a permanent, unbreakable dead end in your journey. But I ask you to look at these mountains through the clear, brilliant lens of my divine perspective, understanding that what appears as an impenetrable wall to you is merely a tiny grain entirely. You frequently experience a deeply exhausting internal battle between your heart's desire to fiercely trust my promises and your mind's urgent, loud demand to secure a completely logical, foolproof plan for your own survival. This daily friction between faith and logic leaves you feeling spiritually torn and emotionally drained as you desperately try to reconcile the invisible, heavenly truths with the harsh, visible realities of your current situation. I want you to know that this profound struggle is entirely normal and completely understood by the one who intricately designed the beautiful complexity of your human mind and your eternal spirit. The crushing weight of your current financial or structural instability has been a relentless source of deep, agonizing terror, making you truly wonder how you will possibly survive the coming, completely unpredictable months. You constantly review your dwindling resources, feeling a rising, suffocating panic as the numbers refuse to align with the massive, unyielding demands that life is currently forcefully placing upon your incredibly fragile, weary shoulders. I completely see your profound, terrifying stress, and I want to emphatically assure you that I am your absolute provider, capable of miraculously multiplying your meager resources in ways that entirely absolutely defy logic. You have bravely carried the incredibly heavy, agonizing burden of completely caring for the broken, hurting people around you, often entirely neglecting your own profound, desperate need for deep healing, rest, and spiritual restoration. You possess such a beautifully empathetic, wonderfully tender heart that you instinctively try to permanently fix everyone else's chaotic problems, completely draining your own emotional reserves until you are left running entirely on empty. I gently, firmly command you today to permanently step down from the exhausting, impossible role of trying to be the ultimate savior for your friends, your family, and the deeply broken world. There are specific dark moments when the towering mountain of your current grief feels so incredibly massive and completely suffocating that you genuinely wonder if you will ever be able to naturally, easily breathe again. The heavy waves of sorrow frequently crash over you with entirely unpredictable timing, forcefully knocking you entirely off your feet just when you thought you had finally found a stable, solid place to peacefully stand. I am gently stepping into the raging, violent waters of your grief right now, completely wrapping my strong, protective arms around your violently shaking shoulders and promising you absolute and perfect peace. I see the deep, heavy fatigue in your bones that comes not just from physical exhaustion, but from the immense, draining spiritual labor of constantly hoping for a beautiful change that seems stubbornly, entirely out of reach. Soul fatigue is profoundly heavier than physical tiredness because it slowly dims the bright, vibrant light of your passion, making the beautiful colors of life appear dull, gray, and entirely devoid of the joy you once freely experienced. I want to softly breathe my revitalizing, energetic spirit directly into your deeply tired soul today, instantly washing away the heavy gray ash of disappointment. I know exactly how deeply it hurts when you feel entirely misunderstood by the very people who should know your heart best, leaving you feeling profoundly isolated even when you are completely surrounded by a crowd. You carefully try to explain your deep feelings, your complex fears, and your beautiful dreams, only to be met with blank stares, harsh judgments, or completely dismissive words that make you want to permanently retreat into a shell. But I understand the intricate, beautiful complexities of your soul perfectly. I fluently speak the unique, quiet language of your heart, and I instantly comprehend your emotions. I want to carefully, gently correct the false, damaging belief you have been quietly carrying. The completely unexpected detour you are currently walking on is absolutely not a harsh punishment for a past mistake you secretly made. You have been anxiously, frantically searching your history, desperately trying to figure out exactly where you tragically went wrong, believing that your current profound struggle is the direct, logical result of a spiritual failure or a severe lack of faith. Please hear me clearly, my beloved child. I am a God of immense, relentless grace, entirely not a God of petty, absolute karma. Please understand this essential, profound spiritual truth. Authentic miracles, by their very definition, entirely bypass human logic, rational calculation, and the predictable laws of earthly probability that you are so accustomed to relying upon. If you could easily calculate the outcome of your current situation, if you could solve it with your own intellect and resources, it would merely be a human achievement and would not require my miraculous, divine intervention. I deliberately allow you to reach the absolute end of your own strength and logical comprehension, so that when the breathtaking breakthrough finally occurs, it leaves absolutely no room entirely. I had to intentionally and carefully remove your predictable, safe, and comfortable options from the table of your life, a process that felt incredibly painful and disorienting to your security-loving human heart. When you watched those familiar doors close, you naturally panicked, feeling as though your safety nets were being cruelly snatched away, leaving you entirely defenseless against the unpredictable storms of your future. But I removed those lesser options in a profound act of divine love, knowing that if they remained available, you would inevitably choose the path of least resistance and entirely miss the spectacular, glorious plan absolutely. I want to loudly and clearly dispel the heavy, dark lie that has been whispering in your mind. You are absolutely not failing in this season. You are simply being divinely repositioned for ultimate greatness. The discomfort, the awkward transitions, and the confusing detours you are currently navigating are not signs of your inadequacy. They are the necessary physical and spiritual shifts required to align you with your coming blessing. Just as an archer must pull the arrow backward with immense tension before releasing it to hit a distant, furious target, the setbacks you have experienced were merely the pulling back. I am actively setting the stage for a spectacular plot twist in your story, a brilliant, unexpected turn of events that you could never have anticipated, planned for, or orchestrated on your own. Right now, it looks as though the narrative of your life is heading toward a predictable, perhaps even disappointing conclusion, and the enemy of your soul is desperately trying to convince you that the story is over. But I am the masterful author of your life, and I write endings that beautifully redeem every tear, brilliantly resolve every conflict, and profoundly elevate the hero after their darkest night. The agonizing delay you've been enduring was never a cruel denial of your prayers, but a vital, necessary pause orchestrated to ensure the perfect, seamless alignment of every detail surrounding your blessing. You have been looking at the clock, feeling a deep, rising panic as the days turn into months, wondering if I have forgotten the beautiful promises I softly whispered to your heart long ago. But while you have been anxiously waiting in the lobby of your destiny, I have been meticulously preparing the interior rooms, ensuring that the characters, the resources, and the timing are flawlessly synchronized completely. What felt like a violent, destructive breaking in your life was actually the beautiful, necessary breaking open of your true, profound destiny, releasing a fragrance of grace that was previously trapped behind hard walls of self-reliance. You thought you were being shattered into useless pieces, entirely disqualified from future joy by the intense pressure of the trials that relentlessly pounded against your fragile, weary spirit. But I was carefully using that very pressure to crack open the tough, protective shell you had built around your heart, allowing the brilliant, authentic light of your true identity to finally shine forth unhindered today. The profound, aching emptiness you have been feeling deep within your soul was never meant to be a permanent state of deprivation, but was rather the intentional, loving clearing of vital space for my forthcoming abundance. You have been grieving the sudden removal of people, comforts, and situations that you deeply cherished, feeling as though your life has been stripped bare and left incredibly hollow by circumstances beyond your control. But I assure you, my beloved, that I only clear the crowded rooms of your life when I am preparing to bring in new, breathtaking furniture that requires a much larger space. Even right now, as you listen to these gentle words, I am actively working in the unseen realm, moving massive, immovable mountains that your human eyes cannot even perceive or comprehend. You are entirely focused on the visible ripples on the surface of your circumstances, unaware of the massive, tectonic shifts of grace that are occurring deep beneath the waters of your reality. Angels are being dispatched, long-standing obstacles are being permanently dismantled, and the hearts of key individuals are being softly turned in your favor, all entirely outside of your conscious awareness or physical sight. The silence you currently hear entirely. Your brilliant, beautiful human logic could only take you so far on this journey, successfully navigating the ordinary paths, but my infinite, boundless grace will seamlessly carry you the rest of the way into the miraculous. You have reached the very edge of your intellectual map, the terrifying boundary where your knowledge ends. Your resources are entirely depleted, and the vast, intimidating ocean of the unknown stretches out endlessly before you. This is exactly where human striving must beautifully surrender to divine intervention. This is the sacred space where you must finally put down your oars and allow the powerful absolute wind. The incredible miracle I am bringing forth in your life will not just bless you individually, it will serve as a radiant, undeniably powerful testimony of my love to everyone who watches your story unfold. You have been chosen not just to be a recipient of my grace, but to be a brilliant living lighthouse, a beacon of impossible hope for those who are currently drowning in their own dark, hopeless storms. When the people around you witness the spectacular, impossible reversal of your circumstances, their own dormant faith will be violently awakened, and they will suddenly realize that the exact grace. You have frequently questioned if I am truly paying attention to your deeply specific needs, or if I am simply applying a generic, broad stroke of grace to your incredibly complex, painfully nuanced situation. Let me deeply assure you that the spectacular miracle I am currently orchestrating is intricately customized to flawlessly fit the exact contours of your unique pain, perfectly addressing the deepest desires you have never dared to speak aloud. I do not do generic miracles. I am an incredibly detailed creator who completely understands the subtle intricacies of your unique heart better than you understand them yourself today entirely. The complete collapse of your entirely logical, carefully structured timeline is fundamentally essential because my eternal, infinite timeline operates on a completely different, magnificently superior set of divine spiritual laws that perfectly guarantee absolute, overwhelming victory. When you intensely try to force my majestic, boundless grace into the tiny, completely restrictive constraints of an earthly calendar, you inevitably experience profound, agonizing frustration because infinite glory simply cannot be scheduled by limited human hands. I am actively, completely breaking you free from the suffocating tyranny of the ticking clock, deeply teaching you how to beautifully rest in the profoundly liberating reality, absolutely, completely. You are currently standing completely in the sacred, beautiful tension between the profound, invisible promise I lovingly spoke over you and the spectacular, highly visible manifestation that is about to dramatically burst forth into your physical reality. This delicate, complex middle ground is often incredibly confusing, severely testing the absolute limits of your mental endurance and frequently tempting you to tragically, entirely abandon your beautiful, resilient faith just moments before the glorious finish line. But I am intensely, fiercely encouraging you to boldly hold your ground, refusing to let the temporary, shifting shadows of doubt completely obscure the bright, undeniable, radiant sunrise. When your massive, spectacular miracle finally completely elegantly arrives, it will instantly, beautifully, permanently shatter every single cynical, dark limitation that the completely broken world has tragically attempted to permanently place upon your profoundly beautiful, incredibly capable life. You will entirely, completely, clearly see exactly why I had to beautifully, perfectly, lovingly, carefully, deeply, profoundly, intensely, strongly, gently, intentionally, purposefully, brilliantly close those lesser, smaller, entirely inadequate doors that you cried so deeply over. The sheer, unmatched, breathtaking, unbelievable, staggering, magnificent, incredible, majestic, absolute magnitude of my divine provision will completely, instantly, entirely, wonderfully, beautifully, perfectly, permanently erase the lingering pain today. Trust that my brilliant, flawless, perfect, loving, divine, sovereign, complete, absolute, perfect, incredible, magnificent, wonderful, beautiful, profound, majestic, powerful, loving, deeply intimate, extremely careful, uniquely tailored, perfectly timed, deeply personal, magnificent, wonderful, brilliant, deeply compassionate, thoroughly perfect, immensely powerful, loving plan is currently, actively, successfully, completely, successfully, perfectly executing flawlessly. Entirely, completely, perfectly, 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 safely, completely, totally, perfectly, completely, safely, gracefully, sexually, beautifully, unfolding, entirely, smoothly, properly, efficiently. Hear my gentle, loving command to your anxious, weary spirit today. Drop the pen right now and permanently resign from the exhausting, impossible job of trying to write the ending of your own beautiful story. You have been frantically crossing out lines, rewriting chapters, and desperately trying to edit the script of your life out of sheer panic, deep fear, and a desperate desire to control the unpredictable narrative. But your vision is severely limited by the tiny, narrow perspective of your current chapter, completely preventing you from seeing the magnificent, overarching, beautifully connected masterpiece that I have been authoring completely, entirely. I am softly inviting you to practice a profound, immensely powerful form of faith today. I want you to intentionally and beautifully praise me in the midst of the dark, terrifying uncertainty you are currently standing in. Anyone can easily express gratitude when the sun is brightly shining, the bank account is full, the body is healthy, and all the complicated circumstances of life are perfectly and neatly aligned in their favor. But to raise your hands in the darkness, to gently whisper a sincere thank you when your heart is breaking and the future is entirely obscured by thick fog completely. If you're struggling to find grand reasons to rejoice today, I gently ask you to find just one small, beautiful thing to be completely, genuinely grateful for in this exact, quiet moment of your life. It might simply be the gentle rhythm of the breath filling your lungs, the warmth of the morning sun resting softly on your face, or the comforting, quiet presence of a faithful friend who stands beside you. Gratitude does not require perfect circumstances. It merely requires a willing, observant heart that deliberately chooses to actively search for the tiny, beautiful fingerprints of my grace, completely absolute. I want you to deeply understand that genuine gratitude while sitting in the agonizing waiting room of life is the highest, most profound form of spiritual surrender and mature faith that a human heart can possibly offer. When you thank me before the physical provision has even arrived, you are beautifully declaring to the spiritual realm that you consider my spoken promise to be just as solid and real as the physical manifestation itself. This advanced posture of faith completely accelerates the manifestation of your breakthrough, entirely dismantling the invisible barricades of doubt and fear that often delay the beautiful blessings. I gently urge you to keep a profoundly open posture moving forward, both in the flexible mindset of your thoughts and in the receptive, unclenched physical posture of your deeply loved and entirely cherished spirit. When you rigidly lock your mind into one extremely specific, narrow expectation of exactly how your deliverance must occur, you inadvertently close yourself off from the infinite, brilliantly creative avenues I might choose to utilize. The beautiful blessing I'm currently sending might not arrive in the familiar package you're accustomed to. It might not be delivered by the person you expected, and it will, absolute. You must mentally and emotionally accept the exciting possibility that the profound blessing I have prepared for you might not look exactly like what you specifically ordered from your limited, human menu of life's options. You asked for a safe, comfortable shelter, but I am building you a magnificent, sprawling palace. You asked for a tiny drop of immediate relief, but I am bringing you an endless, torrential downpour of eternal joy. If you refuse to accept anything other than your original small request, you will tragically completely miss the immense, breathtaking upgrade that I have lovingly and carefully designed completely. Remember this beautiful, comforting truth whenever your logical mind tries to forcefully drag you back into the dark, exhausting spiral of anxiety and endless, frantic calculation. My thoughts are infinitely higher, grander, and more brilliant than yours. My spectacular gifts, my complex solutions, and my beautifully timed interventions will always profoundly exceed your wildest, most expansive imagination. Completely shattering the artificial ceilings you have unknowingly placed over your own incredible life. You're attempting to navigate a vast, multi-dimensional universe with a flat, two-dimensional map, while I'm entirely outside of time, intimately seeing the magnificent, completed picture of your beautifully entirely. My beautiful child, I want you to truly feel this in your spirit. You are standing on the very edge, the absolute precipice of a massive breakthrough that will permanently and beautifully reshape your entire reality. The intense spiritual resistance you've been feeling lately, the sudden spikes of fear, anxiety, and doubt, are merely the frantic, dying efforts of the darkness trying to pull you back from the threshold of your victory. You are so incredibly close to the finish line of this difficult chapter. The heavy, dark clouds are finally beginning to break, and the brilliant, warming rays absolutely entirely. I'm asking you to gently and intentionally prepare your heart to receive a blessing so vast, so incredibly beautiful, and so profoundly overwhelming that it will entirely overflow the limited boundaries you previously set. You've been asking me for a cup of water to quench your immediate thirst, but I'm preparing to beautifully guide you into a massive, endless ocean of provision that will sustain you for a lifetime. If you do not mentally and spiritually expand your capacity right now, the sheer magnitude of the goodness I'm sending will completely shock your system and feel deeply, entirely. If this gentle message has brought a soft, beautiful comfort to your weary soul today, I softly and lovingly invite you to subscribe to this channel, not as a demand, but as a beautiful way for us to completely connect. I want to continue pouring these gentle whispers of eternal truth, hope, and deep healing directly into your spirit, continuously wrapping your beautiful heart in the warm, comforting embrace of my unwavering, unconditional love. By staying connected here, you create a dedicated, quiet sanctuary in your busy life where you can regularly retreat, easily drown out the harsh, chaotic noise, completely absolute. As the heavy, exhausted day finally comes to a close, I want you to completely lay down the crushing burdens of tomorrow, release the lingering regrets of yesterday, and simply rest beautifully in my eternal, protective arms. Do not let the dark, whispering shadows of anxiety steal the peaceful, restorative sleep that your incredibly tired body, your overworked mind, and your deeply fragile spirit so desperately need tonight. I am standing perfectly guard over your life, fiercely protecting your beautiful future, actively fighting the unseen battles on your behalf, and ensuring that no weapon formed against your magnificent destiny will utterly, absolutely. I am deeply, fully, and unconditionally committed to your profound healing, your ultimate joy, and your magnificent, spectacular success in every single area of your wonderfully unique and beautiful life. My promises to you are not fragile, temporary wishes, but absolute, unbreakable, eternal guarantees, sealed by my own perfect, unfailing character, and bound by my endless, fiercely protective love for you. No matter how dark the night gets or how fiercely the storms rage around you, absolutely nothing can ever separate you from my constant, comforting presence or derail the incredibly beautiful future I have carefully designed. Go forward with absolute entire